Yo, what up, y'all? Cherries and Bunions in the building. And we back with another tutorial. And right now, I'm gonna be drawing and animating a guy riding a bike through the town. And right now I'm going through all the procedures within the program Animate. Well, actually the program name is Moho Pro. So I'm using the drawing tools, and I'm gonna tell y'all something. I hope y'all been writing and practicing your drawing, cause like I always tell y'all in my other tutorials, that's the foundation of being a successful animator is actually doing the writing and storyboarding and drawing, cause that's what's gonna elevate your game. Is the simple things that don't cost no money or no high technical skills, but take more persistence than anything. You know what I'm saying? Because your writing is like your ammunition. Yo, if you don't got no writing, there ain't nothing popping. You know, you can have all the artillery in the world, but if you don't got no ammo, you just got a bunch of metal. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's like the point I always try to push, that you gotta keep writing, and planning out how you gonna put your skits together, and that's the storyboard process. And for y'all solo animators, you know the storyboarding don't gotta be all intricate and all that. You can write it down on how you plan to attack your animation. You know what I'm saying? But right now I'm drawing the wheel, and I'm using a lot of the shape tools. And as you see the spokes, when I draw the spokes, I gotta go over the spokes with the create shape tool, because the spokes is lines, and lines are not complete shapes because the ends are not closed in. So you gotta go over, like if you drawing lines, you gotta go over them with the create shape tool, so you can solidify those lines and make them into shapes. But you know, one thing about my tutorials, I just be speeding through it for the sake of tutorial purposes. So you know, when you doing your artwork, you can make it a lot cleaner. But you know, this is animation, so it's not about the crispiness of the art. It's more about the motion than anything. You know, art and animation could be they very related to each other, but they two separate things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And you know, this whole process is a therapeutical thing. It relaxes the mind, and it increase your focus, and it's time consuming. So when you in the house or wherever the way you at, and you drawing and animating and creating and writing and all that, that time is keeping you. That time you doing this is the time that you staying out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of nonsense going on out there in the world, and you want to have your own rhythm and flow going within your own universe. So even though this art form is real time consuming, just keep at it, and it's gonna keep you out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? But I'm right here drawing the bike, and then you know one thing about it, being that it's gonna be an individual on that bike, a lot of these parts ain't even gonna be seen because he's gonna be covering a lot of it. And this is the seat right here I'm drawing. It's not real complicated because the guy gonna be sitting on the seat. You ain't even gonna see it. But it's good to just have those things around just for reference. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is just a simple bike. When you doing your art, you can make it more detailed and complicated and all that. Cause you know when you drawing and animating, it's real time consuming. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm just rushing through things, and you can see I'm still using the drawing tools on the left side of the screen, which is the tools I'm using is like the add points tool, manipulate points tool, and create shapes tool, curvature tools, the line width tool, the create shape tool. Those are the tools you use when you in Moho Pro. You know, if you an artist, you automatically gonna want to use the pencil tool to draw, because I know like that's your natural instinct is to use the pencil tool and draw. But being that this is a vector art based program, and Moho Pro got their own workflow, and you can use the pencil tool and draw, but that's not the most effective way to operate in this program. In this program, you use really the add points tool to draw instead of the pencil tool. It's a whole new form of drawing. It's more like sculpting, really. And once you start using this program, you're gonna realize it's a better way to work within this program. But you know, if you so used to drawing and stuff like that, you could always draw within another program and import your artwork into this program and trace it over with the methods used within this program, like with the add points tool. And yeah, but that's what we do in Moho Pro. You know what I'm saying? We lay down the points and the lines and then shape and mold them. And you know, in your mind, you could be looking at this like, oh, I'm flying through this program and doing my artwork real fast. I must be real good. But in all reality, the video sped up. You know what I mean? Drawing is a process and it's time consuming. But I sped up the video. So don't think I'm just some crazy artist that just be flying through stuff. You know what I mean? And so you don't get discouraged when you doing your work. You know what I'm saying? You gonna go through, well, when you go through it, it's going to be time consuming unless you just a better artist than me, which you probably are. But as far as like maneuvering through this program, it take time. And remember, all these tools, not all the tools, but a lot of the tools have shortcuts. And when you hover over the tool, it's going to tell you the shortcuts so you can speed up your workflow. You can use the shortcuts. I mean, when I say shortcuts, I'm talking about hotkeys. Like instead of clicking on the tools, you can use like a key on the keyboard. Like the translate points tool is the T, and the layers tool is the M, and the create shape tool is the U. The add point tool is the A. The paint tool is the P, and the shape tool is the S, and on and on and on. But when you hover over the tool, it's going to tell you what the shortcut is for that specific tool. But some tools don't even have a shortcut, so you still gotta go click on it on the right side of the screen. Like the select layer tool don't have no shortcut, and that's a tool you're going to be using a lot because within your animation it's going to be a bunch of layers. As you can see, all the layers on the right side of the screen, I draw with a lot of layers because having stuff on different layers is convenient when you animating. Because when you animate and you moving like different things around, so it's good to have stuff on different layers. Like right now, I'm drawing the eye all on one layer because this is looks like a tutorial, and I'm not gonna I'm just speeding through it, so I'm not doing everything on different layers. As far as the face is concerned, I'm drawing all the face parts on one layer because I'm really not gonna animate the face in this tutorial. But if I was working on a private project, a personal project, I would, and I know that character's going to do a lot of interacting. I would draw all the eye parts and eyebrows on separate layers so I can animate them in the future. So it's always good to have a bunch of layers and to relieve the pressure on your computer. Try to put a lot of layers within groups so your computer don't gotta process it every time. It process every individual layer when you doing your rendering. So when all your stuff is in a group, it come out as a single image instead of a bunch of little images. And yet that's gonna ease up the resources on your computer. So groups is a good thing. But even with me drawing everything on the same layer within the face, you can still see that I still got a lot of layers on the right side of the screen. And like I said, this is Moho Pro, and when you on your animation journey, this is one of the programs you could use, but you gotta have a program for your audio, which I use Audacity, and like for my music I use FL Studio, and for my video editing I use DaVinci Resolve. So those are the programs you're gonna have to use to those are the type of programs you gotta use to have a complete animation studio within your computer. So you're gonna need a video editing program. You're gonna need a audio program where you can record audio like vocals. You having a music program is good because you want to add scores and music to your projects, and and then you need a video editing program to string all your scenes together because you building you in Moho Pro, you create individual scenes. You don't create a whole project within Moho Pro. You create individual shots and scenes within Moho Pro, and then you string those together within your video editing program. And that video editing program I use is DaVinci Resolve, and it's a free program. The Audacity is also a free program. That's where I record my vocals, and then the FL Studio, which I purchased a long time ago, over 10 years ago, is you when once you make the first original purchase, you get lifetime updates at no extra cost. So every time a new version of FL Studio come out, you get that for at no extra cost. So basically it's a one-time purchase for FL Studio, and I've been using that program for years, so I haven't had to pay for any upgrades. But you know, you just get upgrades for the version that you purchased. And if y'all would like me to do tutorials on those other programs, I will. And remember, these are the programs I use. Your workflow doesn't have to use those programs, but you can still use the principles that I teach because the principles are universal across all programs when it comes to animation and art. So it's not like you can't transfer the ideas and information from program to program because you could do that. So no matter what programs you use, you should still watch the tutorials because you could the knowledge is universal. And I want y'all to check out my website cherriesandbunions.com. I got free beats that you could download and get your spit on those free beats. Create projects. I also got my movie called Stanky and Taco. It's an animated film. It's like an hour and change long. It's a full theatrical project. And I also got an online ebook you can read straight directly off the website that break down all the elements you need to be a successful animator. So yeah, I got all that on my website, cherriesandbunions.com. And I also got a book by this pimp old Greasy for the ladies that want to get into the unadulterated street game. Not even just the street game, just knowledge on life or how to work the game. And if you know what type of game I'm talking about. Old Greasy breaks all that down. He's a good author. And that book got a lot of knowledge. Even dudes can read that book because it's real entertaining. I read it. I liked it. And all that could be done on my website, cherriesandbunions.com. And yeah. And this guy right here, he just riding his bike through the town. And I just got everything on a bunch of different layers. And animation is all about illusion, you know what I'm saying? And then also, it's all about style too. There's a bunch of different styles, you know what I'm saying? You might not, your animation might not be like my style. You might use a lot of realistic props within your animation. That's a cool style. I like that style when people be adding like actual like if they got a living room and use actual photos of furniture. That's a dope style and it definitely speed up your workflow. You know what I'm saying? Have actual realistic outdoor scenes and have animated characters. That's pretty dope, you know what I'm saying? That if you could finesse that style. And you see how I'm drawing within this program? I'm just laying down the points. And then you got to be mindful of how many points and what points you're using. You got to be mindful of how you going to finesse your animation. And that's how you should lay down your points according to how you going to finesse your animation. But the beautiful thing about this program is very forgiving. So you can always go back and add points that you need on your project to fulfill your desire of how you want to animate. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving Duke a pair of Pumas because I'm from the old school. I like Pumas. I think they dope sneakers. And so I'm gonna give him a pair of Pumas with the Puma logo. Why not, right? And yeah, this is just a cool guy riding through the city, having a good old time. And Yeah, y'all just keep writing. That's the important thing. Keep writing. Check out my website. Check out my shorts. I got a bunch of shorts on my YouTube channel showcasing my animation projects, and I got some longer videos also showcasing my animation skills, and they pretty dope. It's a lot of them is pretty funny. And then when you get into your animation style, you could get more into some action or drama, whatever your style is. You know what I'm saying? You could do parody skits. A lot of that's like real popular on YouTube doing parody skits, but I'm not really into that cuz I don't like talking about people like celebrities and stuff cuz at the end of the day, you think you a nobody and you seeing everybody talking about folks, so you thinking it's okay to talk about them. Them people be watching and listening too. You know what I'm saying? And I just ain't the type to be talking about folks. That ain't my thing. You know what I mean? Under the shoes, I'm drawing pedals, and each wheel is like a different layer on the bike. So I'm gonna animate each wheel separately. But I'm gonna draw a background and scroll the background for so to illustrate that my guy is riding through the town. And I put the guy and the bike all in one layer. That's why you look in the layer panel, you only see two layers because the guy and the bike is all compressed into one layer. And now I'm drawing the background on another layer. So when you look in the layers panel, it be groups within groups within groups, within switch layers and groups and switch layers. And and like I told y'all before, I don't really do bone rigs because to me it's just extra steps and extra work you got to do and more things that could go wrong. That's just not my thing. Everybody got their own style and preferences, but I don't do bone rigs. And I know a lot of people be interested in them. And believe it or not, I know how to do them. I just don't prefer to do them. And if it get to the point where y'all want me to show y'all how to use them, I'll get into it. But one thing about bone rigs, I'm gonna tell y'all a little something that a lot of guys that do tutorials about making rigs, they don't tell you is those things got a lot of quirks and glitches. So you make your bone rig and you thinking, oh, I'm gonna make this bone rig and it's gonna be and everything is gonna work perfect. No, it's not gonna work perfect. It's gonna be a lot of quirks in those rigs, and then next thing you know, all you doing is fixing the quirks in the bone rigs while you really be needing to work on your project, and that's really why I don't focus on doing bone. That's one of the reasons I don't focus on bone rigs, because the more complicated they get, the more stuff go wrong with them. And they don't get me wrong, they good. They a good concept and all that, and they good to do. But it's a beautiful thing. It's just not my thing. That's all I could say. You know what I'm saying? My thing is creating is having everything already manifested within my mind of how I'm gonna put everything together through my writing and my storyboarding, and then from there I start working on how I got everything situated in my mind, and that's how I approach the animation process because it's a workflow. You gotta have a formula. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can open the programs and play around with them and freestyle and get things done like that. But at the end of the day, when you serious and you trying to create projects back to back, you gotta have like an idea and plan on how you gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? And you see my guy right there, because remember, you doing all that drawing, but only thing the viewer can see is what's inside the camera view. And the camera view is that light blue circle. And I'm gonna tell you another jewel about Moho Pro. You see, I'm going all the way to the end of the timeline and spinning the wheel because that's where the keyframe is going to be at. But you see that? I'm just spinning the wheel around and around and around on the timeline. But I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna tell you as far as that camera view. I'm gonna have my guy moving his legs up and down to do the animation. But I'm gonna tell you something about that camera view, and I know a lot of y'all gonna make this mistake when y'all first get into the program, is y'all gonna try to draw everything in that camera view, whether and not considering the scale of the objects you drawing. Meaning, if you trying to draw like an outdoor scene, you're going to try to squeeze that whole outdoor scene in the camera view. Then you're going to zoom in and then draw your characters to be the relative size to the scenery. But remember, the default camera view from top to bottom is about the size of a character. So if you trying to draw like a outdoor scene, draw the outdoor scene or the scenery or the indoor, just any background, draw them way bigger than the camera view, and then you can zoom in and zoom out on that scene, but make the default size of the camera view about the size of one of your characters, because that's another way the program can start acting funky, is if you try to do everything within the default size of the camera view. And you're going to understand what I'm talking about once you start playing with the program. So just remember, that camera view is about the size of a character from top to bottom. I'm just animating my guy on the bike, you know, having his legs going up and down like he's pedaling, and the bike moving. And I'm gonna add audio, like you know, the see, now I'm scrolling the background. See, look at that right there. And even though this is simple, I'm gonna add some audio to and then I'm gonna show y'all the render. See that right there? Like the bike. And now here go render right here. Alright, y'all, yo. I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial. Yo, y'all be safe, yo. And y'all check out my website, cherriesandbunions.com. Peace.